Welcome to the Goodwood Festival of Speed 2025. This is one of my favorite events of the year, where you see supercars, all the classic cars. You see the latest Bugattis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. But the real reason I'm here is to look at the Future Lab, where they showcase the latest technologies from undersea exploration to AI to space technology, robots, humanoids. It is literally insane. I have just interviewed F1 legend David Coulthard, and you can see that on my channel. I'm just about to see astronaut Tim Peake to talk to him about space technology. So let me show you the Future Lab. Okay, here we are at the Future Lab, and I'm here with Lucy Johnson. You're the curator of the Future Lab, so tell us a little bit about the lab.
Absolutely. Well, Future Lab is Goodwood's Technology and Science exhibition campus. The mission of Future Lab is to champion technology for a better world.
Amazing. So what are some of the big themes this year?
So the themes this year, there are 4 themes. The first theme is future mobility concepts that'll keep people safe, that'll protect the planet, and that will help us to explore and understand our world better. The second one is new industrial revolutions. So this is looking at robotics and AI, machine learning, autonomy, all of those radical technologies which we thought were the future but are now, they're here. The third theme is exploring spatial intelligence. So this is looking at my fascination around digital twins and simulation and how incredible kind of advanced, powerful new software platforms are enabling us to scan and capture the physical world.
Yeah.
And the fourth theme is our big blue dot. What we're showing here this year is how digital technologies enable us to explore the oceans in ways that we've never been able to before. So getting down really deep, scanning the seabed, capturing incredible visualizations of some of the wildlife that we've never seen, and appreciating our planet as we should.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much again.
We are at the stand of the National Robotorium. Next to us we have the humanoid robot Amica, and with me is Steve McLaren from the National Robotorium. So tell me more about Amica.
She's a humanoid robot. She's designed to replicate the human form, but as you can see, Amica is a little bit more advanced, and she has facial expression, actual eye contact and gestures as well. So communicating really on a human level with us.
I think there are quite a few people scared of humanoid robots too.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of that today while we're here, but actually I'm seeing people, as they get to know Amica, the scare is diminishing. They're getting more used to it now, and I think that's something as a society we need to do. Children go straight for it and absolutely engage. As soon as Amica starts talking, they love it.
So if we look at robots in general, what do you predict to see over the next 10 years?
I think we're going to see lots more humanoid robots. I think we're going to start seeing them in our homes as the price point comes down and they become more available. And I think we'll see them doing the kind of things that we would normally see as chores, something that's a bit dull or it's a bit dangerous. We'll see them helping us by taking the place and giving us more time to do the things we like come to events like this.
Amazing. Thank you for your time, Steve.
That's my pleasure. Lovely to meet you.
Here you see this amazing underwater robot that is used for deep sea exploration. They actually used this amazing vehicle to find the wreck of the Endurance. And I have Eleanor with me. I would love to learn more about what you did.
So we use this particular type of underwater robot to go and find the hardest to find shipwreck on Earth. That's the Endurance, underneath the ice of the Weddell Sea in Antarctica.
Amazing. And then you used artificial intelligence to brought the wreck to life after you found it, right?
So we took 25,000 images of the wreck, we stitched them together, and that process is called photogrammetry. Now that will take somebody a long, long time. So we used AI to enhance and sharpen that process up to create the model. So to restore those reds and oranges particularly, we used AI, colour correction, and that was done for us by Voice Imaging, an amazing Canadian company, state-of-the-art AI processing to bring the model to life.
Amazing. Then you created this full AI model, this digital twin of the REG, and used this to 3D print a version of the REG, right?
We're using state-of-the-art technology and partners who are using this, and then a 350-hour print using polyactide to make a model. And what this does is that sort of really brings the REC to life. So we have a digital 3D model and a physical 3D printed model, so that all of our learners, kids coming to our stand, can understand the endurance in minute detail.
Incredible. I'm here with Space Forge. They are a very innovative company that is manufacturing semiconductors in space. Tell me all about it.
So the advantage of looking at low Earth orbit as a platform for growing these materials is that the vacuum is very good, so there are no impurities, especially in terms of the impurities that we don't want within our semiconductor crystal. In addition, there were hundreds of studies done of crystal growth in space. It's been going on since the 70s. And they have shown that there has been a significant improvement in the crystal quality. So one thing about crystals is ideally you want all the atoms to be ordered beautifully. In reality, you get little defects, little kind of kinks within that ordering, and the low gravity seems to have a positive effect on this crystal formation, and we're trying to exploit both of those things and more.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about exploring deep space using AI and advanced technology. I'm here at the Future Lab and I'm with Professor Steve Wilkins. Tell us a little bit more about the exciting project you're working on.
Sure. Well, actually, I'm here promoting a really, really cool new telescope called Euclid. So Euclid is actually about 5 times further away than the moon at the moment. It is all the time mapping the sky. So over its entire lifetime, it will map about 1/3 of the entire sky. So in fact, about 1/3 of the entire universe will be mapped by Euclid, including not just the light that we can see, but all of the mass, all of the dark matter.
And how are you using AI and machine learning to help you explore the universe?
Over its mission, Euclid will identify tens of billions of individual objects, many of which are galaxies. Now, what we'd really like to do is be able to look at all of those individual objects and see if there's anything particularly exciting about them. There are some things that are very rare that it's really cool to identify. Now, with that many objects, it's simply impossible, unless we have a huge army of volunteers or PhD students, it's really impossible for humans to do that. And so we're increasingly relying now on machine learning or AI to actually do this job for us and actually try and find the interesting things in this huge suite of data.
So where do you hope this will all go in the next 10 years?
I mean, I really hope we will start solving some of these, lingering mysteries about our universe. So things like what dark energy is, what dark matter is. These do seem to be really, really difficult problems, though. So I just hope we make progress, and I hope we inspire the next generation by doing this. And I think it's really important for our own civilization to keep moving forward, keep doing better, keep scratching the surface of how our universe works.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your time today. I've had such a lovely day here at Goodwood today, looking at the Future Lab. So many amazing technologies and really showcasing them, giving people this hands-on experience. I literally can't wait for next year. See you then.